Hello, everyone, and welcome to Play Dicely After Party. My name is Christy Clow, and this is the talkback show where myself, my wonderful castmates, and our incredible DM discuss the most recent episodes of Play Dicely, our D&D actual play show that typically airs live here on Twitch every other Sunday at 6. However, this Sunday, I'll tell you a little bit about that later, because I'm going to keep you in suspense. Wouldn't you like to know what's happening this weekend? And a quick thank you to Tim from Tabletop Audio for the music that you will be hearing in the VOD if you are watching this on our Play Dicey YouTube channel. And hey, as always, you should go check it out. We're freaking incredible. Throw us a subscribe. It costs you nothing unless you want to also give us money at the same time. I don't know how you would, but you're resourceful. You'll figure it out. But anyway, back to the real point of this whole thing, which is discussing episodes 48 and 49 of Play Dicely, which is, I don't know how to say this, shifting focus, but with a ching.
Yeah.
How would you say it phonetically? It doesn't matter. Shifting focus.
Shifting focus.
No, you have to say it so people know that it's money. Like you're like shifting.
How do you
That's
phonetically
true, you
pronounce
need to-
Keisha?
Cash.
Cash. Well, what's that second episode, Christy?
Focus.
The second one is room for growth. No emojis in that one, unfortunately.
I feel like
Yes,
we
sneak it
tried
in
to
every
get one
time.
in there though.
Yeah,
We did try.
And he wasn't. Denny wouldn't go for it.
No.
I gave you the one.
We'll get there. Two
Yeah.
more years.
One day. Yeah.
Alrighty, team. Well, in this first episode, Shifting Focus, we once again find ourselves in Varm Hall. We're making our way back the way we came. I feel like this is like kind of the first, like, we started with like going back to Daryl Karth, and we're slowly revisiting places. Very exciting.
Backtracking our way through the campaign.
Yeah. All right. So when we're there, I have a nice conversation with my mom and my sister about how Balesville went for them. Fully talked to Karjak and basically said our paladins aren't going to be taking a side in this dispute, and took all the paladins out of Balesville and brought them back home, which terrifying. Glad it went well. Glad my family didn't die off screen. That would be so. Anyway, but as part of that, I was super kindly asked by my mom not to wear my tabard with my symbol of fire on it anymore, and I only felt a little upset by it. So thanks for that, Denny. I'm gonna save Logan's stuff because Logan will be joining us later, so I will come back to the things that happen with Rhea. Which unfortunately makes the next point about me again.
Well, we're in
Oops.
Farm Hall.
Yeah. But yeah, so I also take our little like morning of downtime here to cast Fine Steed for the first time, which, looking at it, realized I could have cast that a long time ago and didn't realize, I don't think, or just like it didn't feel like it came up. Because you and I were talking about it, Denny, later, and we were like, oh, when does like Greater Steed come up? And it's like 2 levels.
Yeah. Yeah, this steed's gonna develop into something different. Also, you gave me warning that you were gonna cast this spell at some point, which I actually greatly appreciated, because I was like, and you put the onus on me to figure out what this animal was gonna be. I was like, damn it.
That's in the spell. That's in the spell. The spell says that at the DM's discretion of like,
Yeah,
what
but
animal
whoever
comes
does
through.
that.
Kumbalai forgot what my steed was, but was hoping it was a big duck, which I honestly didn't know what you were going to pick. Because I think I actually told you about how I was planning on doing this over Christmas break. I feel like
I think
when
so.
I told you. And so I'm like, what happened? Like, why did I like... Because it might have been like timing-wise, we just ended up like in the mountains. And I'm like, why the fuck would I like summon a steed in the middle of a mountain? Like,
Man, having that wolf would have been real nice though.
Hmm.
Or it could have been a duck. You know, maybe Danny just flipped a coin.
Is that true, Denny? Were you like, you could go either way?
Um, n- no, but I will say, I think the fact that I had time to consider it did affect what it ended up being.
Because if I had just been like, in the session, I'm casting this, would you just been like, here's a horse?
I mean, I had a few other ideas. Wolf duck, Jesus.
Ooh, that's so like Avatar. Hell yeah.
Yeah, like I had a few other ideas of things that your mount could have been. And I think the fact that I had enough time to think about it and land on this, like this was the most recent addition to the roster of ideas. So it was like, okay, no, this is the one we'll land on. And that wasn't, I think that might have been before the session that you summoned it. So I think, yeah, the time was important. Otherwise it would have been something completely different, which I don't know if I'll mention what those things would have been until after the campaign is over.
I was just gonna ask though.
So you're
After
saying
it's
there's a chance
over?
it was a duck.
You, God damn it! I'll add it to the freaking campaign thing.
Nah, it's
after-
all right. Perhaps I'll. What I'll say is, we're not going to dive into the deep lore. The deep lore we'll dive into after the campaign. But I'll tell you guys what the options were. Firstly, I thought it would have been funny to have that unicorn during Abe and
I
Nell's
know.
make
That's
a
a good
return.
one.
That's what I was
Um,
honestly wondering. I'm like, oh, because like then what was that thing that you found, Dallas? That was like there was like some connection between paladins and unicorns or
yeah.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, unicorns appear for the. I can't remember now, but yeah, there was a whole thing about it.
Yeah, so that was an option. And then I was considering, like, well, perhaps I want to do something a little out of the ordinary. I considered something more like a saber-toothed tiger, which was funny that it came up in that one episode where Nell was, like, meditating by the pool and a saber-toothed tiger was there. That was
Well, I
not
told you about
alluding
that
to
too.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I told you because like it really like in the moment made me like super like not scared, but like because during that whole episode I was like thinking about it because everyone had their special things that were going on. Like they had, I think Drac flew and Rhea did something.
Well, this is by the point you
I
guys
can't
were in
remember
Darrowgarth.
Yeah, so like
Oh, but I
like
see
when
what
we
you
were
mean.
when we were still at the top of the mountain, like after like the episode where we all died, like everyone had stuff they were doing, and I was like, oh, like I want to like maybe I'll cast a spell today, but then I was like, it makes zero sense to do it right now. Like again, we're on the mountain, like just to like walk down the mountain. But yeah, and so I was like reading, like while other stuff was happening, I was reading like all the different options and then like what the options were for find Greater Steed. And one of them was Saber-Tooth Tiger. And so I had that open and then we started that scene and you mentioned it. I was like, what? And then later Anthony was like, yeah, like he mentioned that like when we first arrived in Darrowgarth.
Yeah, that wasn't a random choice that a saber-tooth tiger was there. That was already established as part of the biome.
Yeah. It just like I forgot and I was like, oh my god, like how? Anyway. Okay, so Saber-Tooth Tiger. You said there was a monster or something, right?
Yeah. So like one of the options for the spell is a creature called a periton, which in its lore, at least in the monster manual, is quite dark and sinister. And I'd come up with kind of a lore of it for my own, which I'm not going to discuss here. Like we could discuss that at some other point, or if it comes up in game. But a creature called an M-Periton, which is kind of a good aligned version of that sort of thing.
That's
Kind
cool.
of a like stag Pegasus in a way. Yeah. Yeah, so those were some of the other options.
Yeah, I was thinking like a big elk or something would be cool too. But
Oh yeah, that was one of my options as well. Which I think led me into creating a kind of hybrid.
hell yeah, I love it. But anyways, yeah, so I got Bayou, the Warden of Fallen Leaves, which is so cool. But I think it was really interesting, like one, I like fully saw Fyra in this and like had like a nice convo with her, which is because I've kind of like seen her a couple of times, but this just feels like it's more casual now. I'm like, oh my god. 2, she freaking patches me through to Reynard. Realize that's the first time I've talked to him since the fucking Dunan Mountains, right? Like that was so long ago.
Yeah.
In and out of game. And it was interesting because like he has no clue what's going on. He is like, oh, you again? Like who knows? Again, I don't know how the time dilation works in the Wilder, so I don't know how long it's been for him, but like it's like, oh yeah, this person doesn't know how I'm connected to my dad, like has no clue who I am, like, or anything about any of that. So I thought that was really interesting. So I feel like when we do like roll up, I'm gonna be like, hey buddy, what's up? He's like, who are you? Be like, oh, it's all good. You just kind of changed the entire trajectory of my life by a one-off line that you said one time, but it's cool if you don't remember me or anything. So no big deal.
I don't even know who you are.
Yeah, it's fine. I don't feel any way about that at all. I think you talked to me a little bit like about the artistic inspiration you had, but do you want to mention that as well? Because it gives people like a good visual for it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's similar in design, though not. I made some like tweaks to it, but the character you play as in the game, Okami, it's like this like kind of cloud-looking flame kind of dog. I've never played the game myself. I
think it's Amaterasu from.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, as I said,
Capcom,
I've never played the game. I don't know. I've only seen the art.
Okay. If it's Amaterasu, it's from I only know it because I played Marvel vs. Capcom, and it's a Capcom character.
I think that is right.
Very cool dog. Very cool doggo.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so that was my inspiration for its kind of design, though like I said, I know nothing about it, but I was like, there's something like the fact that Reynard's a fox, and I was like, well, if he had an entourage of knights, what would they be? And they're just wolves that prowl the forest. I was like, okay, well, I'll take this. And yeah.
Wait, so they're all the wardens are the same?
Well, no, they might have variations between them, but they're all like that same species.
Ooh, that's cool. I didn't
like
know
they
that.
themselves.
Got some freaking
now we're
lore
stealing lore from me.
Yes, that's cool. I love the concept of like a fox being in charge of like a retinue of wolves. Just like anyway, I feel like that's pretty much all we did in Farm Hall. That's been Logan's stuff, which we'll come back to. So,
yeah, I think Elwin, you tried to do some research while you were there. Did you not?
I think
Abe did research for sure.
Yeah, Abe was trying to look up the Goliath.
Tried to look up the Goliath that follows why is it slipping my mind?
I forget which path she was on. I could pull up my document, but I don't really want to do that right now. So, but she's like one of like the heads of like one of the 3 paths of Malden. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the name I was forgetting for some reason.
I feel like there's a good chance, like when I initially got that research, I asked if I would like know who this is, and you were like, you don't know every Goliath. I was like, okay.
No.
So, I have to assume that already happened. Like that seems likely, but anyway. Yeah, so we wrap things up in Farm Hall and we teleport for the first time ever via circle, not just teleport. Back to Pearl Bar.
Yeah.
It's so exciting. I mean,
Actually,
it's great that you like have that like ability now. Like it's such, I feel like it really kind of marks like a certain point in a game when you have like that sort of magic available to a party, at least like in my experience. So
yeah, it gets us west. Go that direction. It's hard to go back the other way.
we'll make it work. It's fine. We've got
Does
like a whole
Elowen
month.
feel like especially powerful now that she has this ability to just step across the world?
I think Elowen's feeling especially powerful for a number of reasons. You
I
know?
love that.
Yeah.
That's how you should be feeling all the time. So.
Actually, that's a great question. How would you say Elowen's coming into being a wizard? I mean, like it's been, well, I guess at this point,
it's
like
fine.
10 episodes in this new class, and I feel like I don't know if I read this correctly, but I feel like you've had a lot of freedom to kind of like, oh dear, I know the fact that you were a warlock before, it was very tied into your patron, you know, you had a certain like flavor, but now you're solidifying that flavor based on what you want. So I want to know how you're feeling this class is informing on Elowen.
Yeah, I mean, greatly. I think we see a lot more of it in the next episode, where it's a lot more of her realizing that this is her own power and that she has the ability to take this where she wants to take it. Which is something I've been like trying to like build towards now that we're not a warlock, now that we don't rely on another being to give me power, that I can do this myself. It's a lot more like, okay, so what are we going to do with it then? I think she is starting to come into it quite well herself, and especially in the next episode, she starts to really embrace that.
I think there was like a certain, like anything in particular that's been kind of like for Elowen shifting that mindset other than just like time in this new class, because I feel like that's like something that we talked about in game when things first switched, and I think like Nell was like trying to like make you feel better about the situation, and I think at the time you were like not ready to necessarily hear that as like a good thing. But
I think like one of the big things that's happened recently is like finding that genie and like once again being like, here's an option for a wish, and like once again kind of turning it down. I think that was a big turning point again where I'm like, God, I really don't want to follow this genie. I actually can only see how this is not going to go well for me. So maybe it's time to like just do this yourself, girl. You know, figure this out on your own. You can do it.
I love it.
Yeah. I think that was kind of, I mean, we all died. That maybe, you know, also weird. All right.
What?
I died and came back to life, and now I'm like, let's go.
I guess that's true. Yeah, like I guess it's just been what, Rhea and Abe up to that point who had died.
Mm-hmm. And then everyone else died in that.
And then we just, well, not Ryan.
But Gideon died ages ago.
Yeah, to
Yeah.
the point where he didn't remember.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I mean that's like on screen is all I really care about, if I'm being honest. So
Well, sounds
that
like I
doesn't
gotta
really-
kill Ryan.
Sounds
I'm
like
sure you will. Don't doubt yourself. I know you'll make it
I think you'll
happen.
get there.
Yeah.
I believe in you.
Don't let your dreams be memes.
Memes.
I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got there.
Great. I was like, is that just the saying? I thought there was something else to it, but anyway. Boop-a-doop. Gonna skip past another Rhea thing. As we pop into the city, we phone up the Learned Circle and let them know that we're here. And then we're like, we'll meet with you later because we've got things to do. Mainly go to Eckhart and learn how much money we've been carrying around. What the hell? I know that I am like particularly item illiterate in the sense that I'm like, I never know like what items are out there, how much they should be, how rare they are, or anything. So this to me was like a really eye-opening, like, what? Sorry. 30,000 gold. How was that everyone else feeling about everything we had on us and how much it was worth?
We like money. We like
That was
money a lot.
That was necessary for me, actually.
Yeah.
It
Well,
was
now being a wizard.
it was so funny knowing what I know, and then Dallas messaging me, be like, "I need more money to scribe
Teni,
these
give me money."
spells."
Money, please. Oh my god.
Well,
I
I
knew
didn't think
that-
we were gonna go back to Brolbar. I think for a while there, I was like, I have these spell scrolls that I can't afford to do anything with them. Like, oh, thanks for the like ink pot, Danny. I still can't afford to actually do anything with these, so that's neat. And I didn't think we were gonna go back to Brolbar until like a couple sessions ago, and then I was like, ooh, now there are options.
Mhm. I knew that
Yeah.
flask was going to be worth a lot, but I didn't think we were going to get rid of it. But yeah, I didn't have any inkling for that instrument, so that was nice. That was a good surprise.
Well, now I'm curious too, because like you didn't know it was going to be Jason until like a little bit beforehand, right? So like,
Mhm.
and like what made it so special is that it was from the. I guess like what would it have been if it wasn't Jason?
What have been?
The base.
Probably nothing.
That's crazy. So thanks,
Yeah,
Jason. I
there
guess,
you go.
for giving us
Shoutouts to the legend.
such a good item. Cool.
Well, yeah, because I mean, like, I don't want to encourage all the guests to do this, but like, like if a guest is coming on at this point, I'm like, everybody's so high level. It's like, do you want a magic item? And he pitched me what he wanted. I made it, and I was like, what about this? And he's like, awesome. I would love to give it away. And I was like, all right, fine. And then with the effects that it had, I priced it out because we're not using the DMG's pricing guide, which is so stuck and doesn't make sense for certain items, like a broom of flying being like 500 gold pieces. No, that should be way more.
What? I'll buy one.
No, and according to these rules, like something like that's like 8,000, which in my mind makes more sense. And so pricing out based on the abilities it had and similar to other magic items, I was like, this thing is worth $30,000. And then you were like, oh, Joy, this item. I'm like, well, if you don't want it, you could sell it.
I was wondering a little bit because you were like really like consistent, and I thought it was more so just because like maybe you knew that I was like, oh, I don't want to hurt your feelings if I don't want this item. But little did I know.
It
Yeah, now I'm wondering about the
doesn't
world
hurt
in which
to sell your magic items, guys.
It hurts only a little bit.
I just feel like if the TM has made an item for me, I'm like, wow, a gift. And
Yeah.
I'm like, what do I know about going somewhere and like shopping for something instead? You know, like it just seems like it wouldn't be as special. So yeah. So yeah, I'm wondering about the world now in which like we don't go back to Pearl Bar and we just go to the next enclave. 'Cause it's like, what's like we would have to have stopped like somewhere, right, for Elwyn to be able to get what you need to make
I
spell
just
scrolls
wouldn't
and stuff.
Have done that, yeah.
I feel like we would have been like, at a huge disadvantage potentially. So
You don't know what I've done with these spell scrolls. Maybe they're all useless.
well, I mean, not just you though, like for all of us like getting like upgraded items and stuff like that. So
I don't think we'd be able to go somewhere else and find diamonds.
No,
that's
I don't
true.
think so either.
Yeah, I guess if we hadn't all died and like used up all of our diamonds, maybe it would have been like more compelling to go right to the next
Yeah, if we
enclave.
had rolled that giant, we would have been like, okay, next one, let's go. But not what
I
happened.
still always felt like it didn't make sense to like immediately go to the next one, but it worked out. So
Well, we did.
it's all good. Well, we did. And now we never will, because
Now we're stuck here dealing with the learned circle.
yeah.
Bureaucratic
Notice of-
swamp.
Bureaucracy.
I mean, how
Lots of
surprised
red
were you
tape.
guys? How surprised were you guys to find that you had actually had some time?
I wasn't that surprised. I felt like this was a natural point to do a bunch of downtime because we had all this money.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
So I felt like getting to Brule Bar would be like okay, now we do downtime because we got to go to our keep and all that. So
Yeah, that was the other thing too. I'm like, I don't like it's crazy to me that we had this keep and that we still had never been to it. I'm like, what the? I want to see it.
Yeah.
So
I, for one, am very glad that we did downtime.
Yeah, in
Yeah.
the grand scheme of things, this probably is the right call.
Now I can take Gideon down that good path.
yay.
Hooray for therapy.
Pray for
Yeah.
therapy
Yeah.
and bigger guns.
Turns
I'm gonna
out
get into everyone's like downtime stuff in the next episode, but
Cool.
yeah.
what else
Cool.
got sold? Abe sold the Gem of Brightness.
Rip.
Yes. Did we do much selling this time
You guys
around? I feel like a lot
did-
of selling
We sold a
happened-
bunch of stuff to the Arturian Knights.
That
yes.
too.
Right?
Yeah. We just had the kind of like generic treasure that we found that we sold. So
Yeah, the Alumbrite treasure minus a couple of pieces you have stuck away from the Horde
Mhm.
to
What?
start your museum.
you got to start planning what life is going to be like for me once we all live. Hopefully. I just think it's like such a cool concept because I'm like, in real life, this is not an option that's available to me. But in fantasy worlds, we went to a cool ruin and like I could be like, all I really want to be is a professor, you know? So I'm like, if I could be like Indiana Jones, but specifically like for Alumbrite ruins, you know, I'm like the leading expert on them. That would be fucking cool. So
That'd be sick.
yeah, I
Great
have a
for now.
special pouch or something with all of my Alumbrite stuff in it
Mhm.
that I should have made more clear because you got a little upset with me. That's all right. Anyway, so once we talked to Eckhart, I feel like we all this is not where we split up, that was later. We all went to the temple of the High Planetary for Abe. We went there
Just
for
for Abe.
Abe.
Just right.
No other reasons.
No other reason. Adam's not here to talk about it, so I will transfer this section up into a later time. But he does have a priest. Like he talks to the priest about the urn of heroes' ashes to just maybe see if we could get any sort of read on what's inside.
I still can't believe like how obsessed we are with that stupid prize.
It's like I'm honestly happy with it going literally either way. Like it would be such like a funny, just like working it in type thing for it to be. Oh my god, I forgot his name.
Pascalis.
Pascalis's ashes, but it's also funny to me that it's just like literally no one's ashes, and it's just like a random thing.
It's like not even human ashes.
Oh, that'd be cool though. It
Well,
was
it
like
is
a
what, like-
monster.
Oh,
Sure.
Cast True Resurrection and a fucking dragon pops out.
It's another bullet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
everything is
Everything
bullets.
is bullets all the way
Yeah.
down.
Somebody plant a fucking bead.
Where? I'm not.
In the keep, do it. I've given it to you
No.
to destroy it.
No,
I'll do it. I don't care.
Hell yeah.
no, I'm gonna fucking
yeah?
throw these
You
things
think?
out. Ugh, God.
At least sell them.
No.
Yeah, I'll sell them.
No.
No, we're just gonna
I'm
hold
gonna
on.
sell
plant them.
We're not planting them in the keep.
Okay, well then we'll plant them elsewhere, but hold on to the beans.
These beans piss me off. Anyways,
They're evil. They tried to kill me.
Everything's tried to kill you, kid.
Yeah.
True.
yeah, literally, that's true for so many things. It's not being specific. But I like the kind of the point of the whole conversation that Abe had with that priest was essentially like you don't like what kind of like what are you hoping for them to do for you, and then like you don't really need them. That was kind of like the gist, right?
Well, it's kind of like, yeah, is it what's going to change if you get what you want in this situation? I mean, like, yeah, sure. I mean, you have a body that was once yours, but does that change the person,
Mm-hmm.
As long as he's like happy, of course.
Yeah.
Also, in that scene, I had an NPC name down for that priest, and I read it too quickly and called him Palor, which is a deity of, I think, the
Yeah.
sun
Yeah.
in D&D
Yeah.
lore. And I'm like,
Yeah.
nope, that says Pelyor, and I totally named him after another god. Whoops. So that priest's name is Pelyor, not Palor.
Oh, he's
Yeah, so
Palor now.
No.
Be named after
Taylor
a god.
Taylor is like he's a huge
Not even
character
a
in
Lots of
God
people
Pod.
named Jesus.
I was about
Not
to
even
say,
a-
lots.
Yeah.
It's not even a deity in this setting.
Who knows
in-
now?
Malai. Power trip as a priest to be named after a god.
I love it.
I mean, look at all like the popes and cardinals who change their names to saints because they think it makes them big time.
Yeah.
Just start calling every priest like Bok something. Bok Choi.
Ooh.
Yes.
I still can't like rectify how that name is actually spelled with how I envision it.
K's everywhere.
Yeah, no, I'm like whenever you say Bach, I'm still thinking like the composer.
Yeah, I pictured
Mhm.
Johann.
Yeah. Oh god.
Well, yeah, it's because it's like Bach speed, like Mach speed.
Correct.
Yeah, that's what my brain did.
Yeah.
It's not. It's freaking not.
Well, I'm gonna continue spelling it the way I want to spell it. I don't care if I'm wrong.
That is honestly, my notes are such a fucking mess now. Like, because there's so many things I'm like learn later that they're not spelled right. And I fully have not gone back to fix them, so it's different everywhere. And I'm like,
Mhm.
whatever. As long as I say the name like relatively correct, it doesn't super matter like what the writing looks like. So.
Pretty sure the god's name is Jeffrey.
I love that.
Greg, actually.
Mm.
Love Greg.
Greg. Shoutouts to the boy, Greg.
But yeah, also see Nivera again. Not that it matters.
It matters a lot.
I feel like
Oh,
it
it
does.
was so awkward.
It was
So awkward.
so funny. I'll never get tired. But I'm trying to like not. I'm trying to like slowly not be as awkward. But I'm like, it's so funny though. Like, but I don't know if I want to like just ever be like super collected. It makes me laugh every time. So I love it. Especially like I like Gideon in the background just being like, like being coached afterwards. Of being, like I think like it was actually such good advice of being like you just like immediately like took her like the option for her to respond away and like that's more forward. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I thought that was truly good advice. So anyway, enough about that. We all know who we're really here to see, and it's Tyrone.
Facts.
Let's go.
Truly.
So yeah, we head back to the Waterlust Inn and see our boy.
The
Still
return of the
perfect,
turtle.
Mhm.
Still doing math poorly. Probably counting things that he was counting when we left, if I'm being honest. So
That's fine.
yeah,
He's still perfect.
Correct.
yeah. But yeah, I feel like the biggest meat of this episode was our meeting with the Learned Circle, which is where we headed off to next. Also, we have our like wonderful rickshaw friends in this episode too, which
Oh yeah.
shout out
Sonic
to them.
and Dale.
It's such a
Dale.
funny, such a
Love
funny bit.
Sonic.
Gotta have the bits.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that was just your hand wave. Let's get around the city quick. So good.
Well, now we're actually like smart enough to use them because I feel like last time we were just like, okay, we'll just walk for 4 hours.
Yeah,
Like,
I think I told you guys when you got in the city, and then it was like 4 days after I reminded you, and you guys were like, what? And I was like, ah, yeah.
You gotta tell us more than once.
yeah. 'Cause I feel like if it was during like the initial description, we're all just like taking in the
Yeah.
beautiful like tapestry you're weaving of this giant city that it's like rickshaw, what?
You're right. This one's on me.
Yeah, it's on you for being too good at your job.
Are we too detailed?
Yeah, you made the rest of the city too interesting. So maybe in the future, if you want to like make it a little bit more boring for us,
Yeah.
then we'll, yeah.
You got it.
All right. So the biggest points I feel like from the meeting with Learned Circle is just kind of like they confirmed like a lot of what we had brought up to them about Kardrak as being true, which was good. And they also kind of like mentioned a few different things that like they might have us pursue potentially, one of which they're looking for someone who's an expert on those bugs, but we might need to look into that as well. I'm like, does that even exist? This is not like a new, I feel like it's a new thing. I guess if there's just like a zoologist or something. Anyway.
Insectologist. Insectologist.
Yeah.
Entomologist?
Some sort of ologist. Anyway.
Teni and I are on the money with this one.
Yeah. It's either
Entomologist.
that's either bugs or words, and I never remember which it is. Etymologist, entomologist.
Wordamologist.
Etymology is words.
Ah, then entomologist is the study of ants.
I'm an entomologist.
Kumbalai confirms entomology is the study of ants.
Thank you, Kumbalai. Cool. I think like the main thing that really like stood out to me during this conversation is like that they basically like don't want to like do anything to provoke Kardrak because he himself has not done anything outright offensive, which I'm like, he's like putting together an army and you're aware of that. Like he hasn't like made an attack yet, but like that in my mind is like enough of like, you know, a contributing factor.
Like mustering a force on the doorstep of a civilization is a pretty clear indication of your plans.
But are farmers a force?
Because in before he builds
but it's
the
not just
most
farmers.
like wholesome community ever, that like they're not in the ascendancy, but they become like a giant like global trading hub, and they're just like genuinely like just a massive hub of trade and culture, and it's wonderful, but it's well defended.
Yeah, but we all know that ain't gonna happen.
What? Give the boy a chance. Come on.
No.
All right.
Well, and we know from that like workshop as well that he has like automatons and like monsters as well, right?
Yeah. He's got tanks and shit. It's bad.
And like, it's like, what didn't we learn from Monty? It's not just farmers. Like, there's like mercenaries and stuff. Like,
yeah, all those gang members that he recruited, like the Shen Kurai.
We know, and the Shade Hand.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know. To me, that felt like very on the nose for like kind of wishy-washy politic stuff of being like, oh, I don't know, I don't want to make it worse. I'm like, you got to do something because like, what are you, like, okay, so you do nothing, and then he does what he's been very clearly like aiming to do, which is attack, or like, you know, do some sort of like negative thing, and you're gonna be like, oh, if only we had seen this coming. It's like, so
how could this happen? Says a nation where it regularly happens.
Yeah.
I was so annoyed with that conversation.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like things got a little heated during this, for sure. But even then, like the next note I have is like they know that he they assume that he's working to like build up a force and like to eventually conduct a civil war. But it's like, if you know that, like, I feel like wouldn't you want to like crush it while it's not fully formed yet? Like, why would you wait until...
nice, a tyrannical opinion.
Yeah, we don't know if there's the convention in this world, you know, the old war crimes convention.
True.
Because you know they could just like waltz in and destroy the place, but then you know people would be like, hey, that's a war crime.
I mean, I feel like in this case, it's, you know, it's not always the case, but in this case specifically, we could cut the head off the snake and the rest will fall.
Yeah. In this case, it's not a war crime because we know we're on the right side.
they literally like killed Azaria, you know, a couple of months ago. Like, we know that these people aren't good.
Yeah.
That's true.
We know they want to kill us. And we know they want to take over the Ascendancy. We know that they're not...
Yeah, it's like we know they're anti-ascendancies. It's like, I don't know. I guess like I'm not well versed enough on like politic related things to feel like even in like a fantasy world I have any great claim to like choose how things should go down. But I'm like, I just know it's gonna be bad. It sucks like knowing that in advance. Oh yeah, like I knew it was gonna just not work. So anyway.
Well, it felt like we came back to Brawl Bar like for them. And so for them to then be like, well, if you could just sit here for a month. I was like,
Yeah.
we have other shit, you know? We could be doing other things. Why don't we go save the world and then we'll come back and maybe you'll have your shit figured out by then, huh?
Yeah,
Help you
then
with
we'll
your
come
petty
mop
Civil
up
War
your
problem.
little rebellion.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think like to me the way I read that situation and kind of like got into it a little bit after the meeting was like at no point have we fully like brought them in on this other thing that we're doing. So it's like they've
Fair.
made this offer to us to like work for them and we said thanks and then we left. And then also for part of that like we weren't really like they couldn't really contact us because we were in like the time dilation. So like that's why I feel like there is like if we trust them enough to be like working for them, then I think we also need to inform them of what we're doing because like I feel like it's a common adventurer thing to be like we're preventing the end of the world, you know? It's like I've probably heard that before, but like they might just need like a little bit more of what's happening, right?
But like, how much do we trust all the members of the Learned Circle?
Well, that's the thing.
point.
Like, I think that's a conversation that we need to have, like, maybe in game or something. Just, like,
I have a theory, but
Mm.
could talk about it in game. But if you want to put on the tinfoil hats, we could put on the
Always.
tinfoil hats. Basically, my theory is that there were a couple of members in the Learned Circle who were very fascinated at what we were doing, and not in a good way. They were very much so like, why the hell are you doing that stuff? Like, tell us what you're doing. Like, there were some people who were remarkably chill about the fact that we were like coming and going and doing shit, and then there was a couple members that were like, what do you mean you gotta leave for this amount of time? Stay in the city. What do you think's more important than this? It's like, oh, I don't know, the world. And then they got even more mad. And it's like, well, why would you get more mad at that? Why would you do that, huh? Why would you
well, and
get
again,
more
I think that's
angry?
where, like, I'm coming from as well. Is like, how, like, I would have to actually go through and see, like, how much we have actually explained to them about, like, what it is that we're doing. Because we know Charity, like, has told them a little bit. But even, like, when we like we're in the Alumbrite ruins and like talk to them the one time or something, like I feel like there was a moment like where we said something and they're like, I don't know what that is, but okay. And so like they fully had no context for like what we went off to do. So like,
But we didn't insight them, did we? We didn't insight check them, though, did we?
Poor Ryan, a victim of my
No.
previous campaign.
Well, it's that, but also I've run a campaign or two with some corrupt ass governments, so I know for
Yeah.
a fact you gotta be careful.
so I think that's like a good thing for us to talk about in game. Just like, I guess like how much do we want to fill them in, and then if we don't fill them in, like, you know, we have to understand that like then they're gonna like maybe not be super understanding of what we're up to as well. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
we'll have to see.
Like, maybe I'm just overconfident here, but I guess I just kind of feel like we know better than they do. Like, I don't, even if we tell them, I just feel like they're gonna like red tape it and be all bureaucratic, and I'm just like, we know what needs to happen. We'll hang out here for a minute. We'll deal with you if we need to. Otherwise, we're gonna go do this. We'll come back. We got this.
Yeah, I guess like I'm
Fair.
not like wanting to tell them in the hopes that they'll give us any help for it. Like I don't think we need their help. I think it's more, I guess, like to kind of like relieve some confusion on either side. If it's like you were saying, like why did like they bring us here only just like to like not have anything like specifically planned?
Right, if they're
For
your
us?
allies, why not treat them like allies?
Yeah, because it's like they didn't know what we were doing, like what we were doing was so important. So like for them, like to bring us back, it was just like to update us on like what happened with Kardrak so far, which like might seem minor, but like that was kind of where we left things with them. So it does make sense they'd want to like fill us in on that. So like I don't think like we need it, like other than maybe if they have any way of like getting us east with some expediency, like I don't think we need their help necessarily, but I think it's just like we did agree to work for them, so we have to kind of let them know like why we won't be around. Like
That's fair.
yeah.
We're gonna let some of them know.
Yeah.
Yeah, not all of them. You let the
I
ones
figure
that we
if
know
you
we
tell
can trust.
some of them,
know.
they all know.
No, maybe not. Like again, they're politicians, and what do politicians do really well? They lie. So we gotta make sure that we're playing the game right. So if we get some of them involved, let like the good ones, the ones we know we can trust.
Now,
We can.
I don't even know how we
I
would know
will-
that.
but
I'm like,
I will
That is-
add, it's not like they have anywhere up to go. I mean, they're already on the top of the pile, so to say. And also, I do kind of want to add the foundation of the government was created by Arturos and Charity, and then was like left in the hands of the people. And that governing system is, people are nominated based on their level of education. And then people get to vote on those nominations. And essentially, learned are the best in their field. And so it is a council of people who experts. It's a council of experts, essentially. Despite their personalities not exactly giving away to that intellect all the time, they are people who have made great strides in their particular areas. So whether that influences your thoughts on who they might be as people, I leave that on you.
Well, you say they don't have anywhere to go, or upwards from where they are. I disagree. See,
It's valid.
there's a little potential overthrow going on, and while there's a learned circle of 5 members now, when that city gets overthrown and Kardrak takes it, or continues building up Balesville, or whatever city Kardrak ends up settling in to form his new empire, who's going to rule the smaller city-states? Right? It could be the learned circle of 5, or it could be the person who helped Kardrak from the inside is given a new lot to lord over, and that's their vertical ascension there, or their upward ascension. Go from being a ruler amongst rulers to just a ruler.
Also, hello, Logan.
Hey, Logan.
Logan.
Hi, Logan.
I finally came and blessed you all with my presence at one of these.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Thank you
Fire is so warm.
much.
Truly honored.
Yeah, truly, like I cannot tell you how nice it is that you came to one of these. I've been emailing you constantly. You haven't gotten back to me.
No, your people keep missing my people.
Yeah.
Keep going into the spam folder.
There's
y'all
that.
have people? Damn.
Yeah.
Dang.
Wait,
There's
did
that.
Denny not supply you with people?
Well,
Don't
I got
mind
the
me, I'm
yacht,
just-
so I guess it's fine.
Just gonna be messing with cams.
Yeah, there's that day last week where I saw you on the street and I tried to come over to you to cross, and then you ran away from me,
Yeah.
and I couldn't keep up. So
I did get hit
Like
by a
full
bus,
sprint.
and it was worth it.
it's
Oh,
like
no.
the scene in the movie where someone sees them across the street and then they like the bus goes by and they disappear. But what you're not seeing is they're actually jumping and like landing on the front of the bus, like going that way. Perfect. We're just talking politics about the learned circle and how trustworthy they are.
I think
Now
they're
that you're
trustworthy.
here.
They're just slow as fuck.
Yeah. But I want to jump back to earlier parts of this episode that were about you.
I don't think anything significant happened about me.
Really?
Yeah.
I think some stuff did.
I don't
I
know
feel
what
like
you're
that's-
talking about.
That's not true. So when we were back in Varmhall, you took some time to meditate in the waters of the life spring. And in doing so, kind of came to the realization that you've always been a druid. Maybe it just looks a little bit different, and kind of really connected to that part of yourself, which was so beautiful. Yeah, I just want to know a bit what that moment was like for you. So it was very sweet.
Yeah, I think like it was a moment of like enlightenment for the character and stuff. This thing that like this has always been here, like, you know, everyone just has their own journey and paths, which is funny because that was actually something that had come up earlier. There was like a point where I was debating taking levels as like an artificer, and it was just like, oh, maybe like my path is just like its own thing and stuff, and now it's kind of like, oh, it is. But it's also in the thing that you were like originally, you know, dreaming to be and stuff as a person. It's just like everyone has their own journey. I thought it was like such a cool moment. And then Denny's reveal of that was the one thing. Every time he's asked like, hey, what's something that you might want? Like a magic item. I was like, I don't know, surprise me. You always come up with cool ideas. The only thing that was very consistent, I think the 2 times was like, I'd love a way to at some point make intelligence my spellcasting modifier. And I think this was the coolest way. Like it was just the most significant way to do it.
It wasn't. Was there actually an item involved? No, it was just like the act of
No.
meditating switched it. That's so cool.
Yeah. It is an enclave. I should have meditated there like I did at the other ones, but there was this whole thing about my dad dying and stuff that I had to deal with, and other stuff the last time we were here.
Wow, it's like you should have processed that instead of going all alone and not sharing whatever.
Do you think, I don't know if me being like, hey, my dad died, the party would be like, you know what you should do? Meditate on that.
Brack might have said that.
It's true. Yeah.
Sounds like something he would do, yeah.
Also sounds like a Gideon thing.
Now that he's got this therapy behind him.
Yeah.
He's got some good
As I was typing up my notes for this, it occurred to me, I'm like, oh my God, you and I now both had moments in Varm Hall of being like, oh, like coming to terms with like who we are without like societal, like outside expectation, and like how like even though our paths are like different from what we initially like intended or wanted, like they're still good. And I'm like, so cool.
Yeah.
Like the parallel that happened like at Varm Hall for both of us and everything. I'm just like,
Yeah, it's like at both of our homes. Like that is home for both of us. And I'm really excited for that moment I had with Nell's mom at the end of leaving, and just like that like little conversation. And I'm like, oh yeah, this is like Ria's retirement is gonna be like coming back to Varm Hall and just like vibing here, maybe teaching some little like paladin druid hybrids how to do this.
that's so cute. I honestly forgot about that conversation. But I love that too, because like it was just.
I probably would have had a like significant conversation with Brack's parents too about like this like great son they've raised, but I can't speak to them. So I'm just like, here's Honey.
My mom speaks common though.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't know that because I wasn't there the first day we were here as players. I assumed the whole time we were there, I was like, no one could talk to me.
Oops.
Yeah. And like when we went back and Abe and Elowen were like in my house and she came in and Denny was like, you know, they're trying to talk to you, but they can't. I was like, I was not focused on that, but later I was like, wait, she speaks common.
I thought about that afterwards too, because I did know that, and I was like, oh, it's fine.
I'd forgotten about that detail.
It wasn't a big deal.
I didn't want to talk to her really, so it's okay.
I just chalked it up to
Fair
she
enough.
hasn't had a lot of practice. It's not very often travelers will come through.
Yeah.
Oh God, it's so cute. I love just how this story works out. Anyways, another thing that I thought was significant to like party, but also to me was like we ended like that moment with like a toast or something. And I was too in the moment and I did not write down like what you actually said, Logan, but like you did kind of just like point out like how like impactful this group had been to you, I think was like the main takeaway, which was really great to hear, because especially that's been like something like Nell has been like wanting to talk to you about, and now it's like maybe I don't have to, but purely just something like the time span that you live on is so massive, and like the fact that like you had like kind of significant things that like happened to you recently that you didn't like talk to us about. I'm like, I don't know, like, do we just like seem like nothing in your eyes? So I love that moment that we just had like a nice connection.
Yeah, no, I think like, you know, maybe like when we started, like apart from Elowen and stuff, there was probably like that, like thought they're like, yeah, all these like short-lived people with me, like, you know, we'll vibe for a bit and then who knows and stuff. But then like as the party's grown and stuff, and like I've spent time with everyone, that's definitely changed more. And you know, now I'll just be crushed in like, you know, 100 years when half the party disappears.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm wanting Nell's next big thing to be. It's like, other than maybe you, I'm gonna outlive everyone. So
Yeah.
fun.
Can have a nice conversation at some point about the dread of aging. You could just meet some ghosts. They'll actually speed that up for you.
Oh, fun.
Perfect.
Just Nell and Azaria retired in Varmhall. Oh, remember the people we used to travel with?
What was that short one's name?
I think that one was Drac.
Oh, yes. The short metal man, Drac with the guns.
It cast the spells that took us across the world.
Oh my god. We just
Who's
amalgamate the
there were
entire
only
party
three
into
of
one.
us that
Just one
saved
ball.
the world. You mean that one person who did everything else?
Pretty sure there
Oh
was
my
just
God.
3 of us. Yep.
Yeah. Oh my god, that's so funny.
Humans, they're all the same.
Especially the ones that look like dragons. They're the worst.
Oh
Oh,
my lord. That's great. This isn't really like a huge thing, but it was just kind of an aside that like part of like when we first arrived into Brolbar again is that Rhea went to Chantier Tarzette, dropped off like notes about the second enclave, and then also we kind of learned that the vial of Sarze's ashes are no longer poisonous. So good
Yeah,
to
I'm
know.
sad that I never got the moment of just like throwing it at something and watching it die.
Yeah, I don't know if that would have worked. I'm like, that whole concept really stressed me out. So maybe it's for the
Pocket
best.
sand. Pocket Sarze.
But like, I don't remember how it works. Like, could it have like, if it killed someone immediately, is there any chance that that could have like gotten like swept up in the wind and then killed us too?
Probably. We have no idea how anything with that works. All
So
we
I was
know
like,
is it's bad.
I don't want to use it because it was just like, all I remember is how like intense Teni was like when you touched it, like when you were collecting those ashes, like how much like did you touch it with your hand?
wait, where's the ring?
So great. But yeah, back to the Learned Circle. The main thing, and again, I'll maybe bring this up with Adam if he ever comes back to the show. He said 2 years is good for me, and I'm heading out actually. But the sensation that he felt on Dawnstar Day, that he initially was like, "Oh, I wonder if it's like something to do with the Chosen, like waking up or something," it was actually felt by all Argan folk everywhere at the same time. I'm like, what was it? Sorry, because like it can't be the Chosen thing now, because like why would anyone else have a connection to that? So I'm like, what the fuck was it? Like, did it have something to do with like the midnight sun?
It would have to, right?
Yeah, like did like they finally kind of activate it or something? Like,
Yeah.
oh, is there an underground in Valesville?
There are the
Might
mines
be.
to the east. Ryan, you've been muted, by the way. Still muted.
Still
You're
muted.
still muted.
Still muted.
Just
I
let
don't
him
think he
talk.
had
He's
anything
on good
important.
There it is.
What?
There are
I've been-
mines to
how
the
long have
east
I
of
been muted?
Balesville. A little while. I've seen you talk, and I was just like, well, I can't interrupt this conversation
Pretty
to tell him.
much since I showed up.
I was dropping some fucking bars, dude.
I like how you just like weren't concerned that like no one was responding to you.
I don't know.
It's just like, that was a good one. That's a shame.
I'm used to it.
Oh.
Oh.
Buddy.
It's fine. No worries.
I mean, we already think that there might be a Lumbrite ruin that just like wedged itself under that city. So
It's true. Could be possible.
Yeah, I don't know now. I think that was a theory I was playing with, but I'm not sure if that's true.
To answer Christy's question, though, there are mines in the Alabaster Hills to the east of Balesville, but they haven't been mined in a while because all the alabaster's gone.
interesting.
So there's room for a crystal.
Yeah.
When the
Well, that's just
alabaster's
something to-
gone, shove a crystal in there.
That's just gonna haunt me for a while. Like, what the fuck was that? Because that's like one of those little things that like, it's just like a small detail to drop in that I'm like, we're gonna find out what it is eventually, but in a moment that's gonna fucking suck. Like, there's no way that's gonna be like we just like in passing learn what it is. Like, no, it's gonna be like in the most critical moment of being like, oh, that thing you felt, boom, and a big
Yeah.
monster comes out.
Abe is controlled by all these other things.
Good. Unless what he felt was like a hungry man being like, yo.
That's what I'm saying. That like that's what he originally thought it had something to do with Malden, but every Argon folk felt it.
Oh.
So
right,
that's why
okay,
now I'm
sorry.
like, what does it mean if they all felt it? So it has to be like more connected to something else.
Just,
so.
shared trauma panic attack moment right there.
Oh yeah.
Maybe it happens every year. Abe hasn't been alive for the rest of them, right?
We never asked.
Well, no, but the reason I bring this up now is because the learned circle
Yeah.
told us about it specifically, and so like they wouldn't if it was just like, yeah, every year on their birthday, Argon folk collectively freak out for a second and they're fine.
What
But,
if
like,
it
no, it's just,
actually
like, a
has
one
been
time.
happening every year, but it's like a slow grow and they just haven't noticed it until now? It's like, before it was like, felt just like a little like, did I feel something? No, that wasn't real. This is the first
Oh.
moment. 50 years later, they're like, oh shit.
Like if anyone's ever used Ten's machine, probably not.
I have no clue what that is.
I don't know either.
It like I'll get into it later. It's not important, but it's kind of like that. So like if you crank it too much, it would make it triggers your muscles to like spasm and stuff. So it could be like, oh, like I don't feel anything. All of a sudden, if you hit the button, it can hurt. So
Yes, Jenny's developing nanobot technology. I love it.
Well,
Nanofolk.
no.
Hate it.
Really small.
It's
Alright.
kind of like
Tiny.
I feel like we saw technology like that in the Lumbrite ruins. This wouldn't surprise
True.
me.
And who knows what Manon's got underneath his belt. So
Old man guy.
yeah. But anyways, I'm gonna wrap this one up with how the episode ended, which is we rode the train for the first time and then saw our freaking keep. So
Well, that's what we're gonna call it. The freaking keep.
the freaking keep.
Key.
The freaking seeking keep.
Freaking seeking keeping.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's fun.
But yeah,
You think Denny is good? It's good. Yeah. Can
You approve?
we get that carved on the side?
Back onto
We
Mr.
have all the
Brown
money in the
Keep.
world.
oh my god, yes. Perfect.
It's not a character, so. Yeah.
We can make it one.
But yeah, I thought it was just such a nice moment to end on. It's cool too how in like fantasy world, like I'm like I ride the train all the time in real life and it sucks, but in this moment I was like, wow, the train. And I love the description of like how like it worked magically. Very cool detail. I like that how you've set that up. It's a really cool concept.
Well, thank you.
And then, yeah, we've got to freaking keep. Has anyone else played in like a campaign that's like you've had like property like that? Because this is a first for me.
Yes.
Ryan and I have.
Mm.
And it was that experience that motivated me to want to give you guys a keep.
Yeah, that was a fun key.
except for
We
go ahead.
I was gonna say we own a tavern in Logan's campaign. The
This is
basement
true.
is filled
You
with
are
bodies,
property
but we
owners.
own that tavern.
I
No,
am
Matt
so
did a good
disconnected
job.
from that.
Yeah. It happened when you went home because you felt too hard.
Perhaps someday we'll talk about that.
I've given players a boat. They did fun
That's
stuff with
true.
that, but this is the only campaign, both as a player or DM, where it's like been like a large scale property.
Yeah, I have some
That's
players in another game that have a studio apartment for 4 of them.
Oh, actually, I
Wow.
did in a campaign. I had an apartment, and it made me miss a huge combat in a session because everyone went to the inn where the combat was, and I went home. So I just sat there for an hour in my friend's game and felt like doing nothing. I just played Animal Crossing on my Switch.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so this is the danger of owning property, kids. You're gonna miss out on fun things. Only homeless people have fun.
Well, I think the difference maybe is that we're all in the same property. It could be if we all just like for the next month got separate apartments in Prolpar. Like, yeah, that would maybe be a little bit different. Plus, that's such a funny concept to me. It's like we're all like, okay, well, see everyone in a month. I'm gonna go batch it up in Prolpar. Oh my god.
The keep that Ryan and I had, Nick was running this game for us, and the moment the keep was ready to live in, we had one night in there, invited some guests over, and immediately assassins attacked and killed one of our favorite NPCs. So it was like, great.
Glad we got
We
this. Glad we
just
spent money on
invite
it.
one of our favorite NPCs to a keep.
This is why we're not having a masquerade ball in the keep. We must
doesn't have to
keep
be-
your own safe.
It doesn't have to be a
that is something-
masquerade ball. It could just be a regular ball. Just like a fun, casual. whatever.
That is. That makes
So-
me angry.
You guys
That's
did
what
miss
happened
El
with-
Solare, so you can have that to make up for it.
What?
It was a holiday
What's
like 2 months ago in the game.
Oh. You know, I honestly, during our like downtime episode, was looking at the calendar to be like, any good holidays coming up? No, we were freaking on the road for all of them.
Thin Veil's
There's
coming
one-
up.
But it doesn't. It seems like more of kind of like a meditative thing, like not like a big celebration.
Yeah, it's more like a,
Sounds like my kind of party.
like an honoring the dead, reflecting on past lives, and
Yeah. Party.
but it's also a time where
Yeah,
a lot
that
of
does sound fun.
psychics come out because people are like, tell me what the dead say.
Hmm.
Oh,
That would be a
that's
me-
when
that would be a
Adrian
medium.
should come as a guest. He loves psychics.
There you go. Ooh, could I like go around and debate a bunch of psychics who think they know how to talk to the dead when I actually know how to talk to the dead?
Go for it.
Oh my god.
That'd be really funny.
All right. Well, I'm going to wrap up this chunk of it, so we can move to the next episode. So, I think we'll take like a very short, like 5-minute break in between. If you're watching this on YouTube, hey, I'll see you in the next episode. Don't worry, we're not too far away. But yeah, thanks for joining us. We talked about episode 48, Shifting Focus, and we'll see you very soon with the next one.